If you have a small vessel of water of some sort, a drinking cup, a water bottle, a mug of hot tea, whatever may be close at hand, or if you'd like to use your imagination, that's also fine. We just have 4 simple movements we'll go through with this water just to pay attention to it for the power and creativity it brings us and the way it helps us in our human life as well as the life of all creation. And we will incorporate a type of prayers of the people in this where you'll be invited to put some names of people and places in the chat, and I will read those aloud for people who are only streaming this service tonight so that people who can't access the chat can join us in prayer. For our first movement, if you'll just embrace your vessel of water, cupping your hands around it, holding it, whatever that means for you, we want to affirm that water is life. Without water, we know that we cannot live. All creatures and all systems in our world depend on water, and we're grateful for the life it brings and nourishes. And we know from the wisdom of Indigenous siblings and many communities living on the margins of power that water is a force for change and a way to draw strength in hard times. Knowing its sacredness and it's an enlivening force, we then lament that without water, siblings are threatened and life itself is endangered in so many communities and parts of the world. So as you hold and look at the water in your cup, affirming its life-giving possibilities, I invite you in a spirit of prayer to put in the chat any people or places or situations whose water sources are threatened. That can be from raging fires or other natural disasters, war and violence, pollution, greed. Let's lift up to God those people and places where water is threatened. We lift up Palestine, Gaza, the West Bank and Lebanon, Syria, for children and doctors, for liberation activists and mothers, for ministers, for those in the Los Angeles area, for Sudan and Egypt, for Flint, Michigan, and places that still are without potable water. God, we lift up these laments and others in our hearts. As we move forward, I invite you to look again at your water and to blow on it, to see how your sacred breath, God's Ruach, dances over the surface. We pray that God's wisdom and spirit is still dancing over the waters of the earth, the waters all around us, as God's spirit did in the beginning, and that this dancing breath will release creativity, energy, healing, and transformation for these hurting places. So I invite you now in a continued spirit of prayer to put in the chat people, places, or events that have given you healing, transformation, courage, or creativity. Let us lift those places and people up for the healing that they bring. May God hear our prayers for creativity, healing, and transformation. Next, I invite you to just dip your finger, if that is comfortable for you, in water and or in some other way to anoint your forehead or your hand, depending on what's comfortable for you, to feel water on your body as a blessing. Might be a reminder of your baptism for those for whom that is encouragement, But for all of us with water on skin, we can remember God's presence, blessing, and spirit. And we use this water as a remembrance right now, this moment, this time, and this age, to commit ourselves to work for God's justice, love, and peace. We heard today through the prophet Isaiah that God says to us, I have called you by name, you are mine. And in Luke, you are my child, the beloved. So claim your belovedness with this water on your skin. And finally, I invite you to take a sip of this water if you are comfortable doing so. To take into your body, to take into yourself this life-giving, creative, and grace-filled gift of God and gift of God's creation. May it help us to feel deep in our bones and bodies that we are empowered, blessed, and filled by grace and presences and community as we journey forward. May it be so.